My beloved, quiet your heart in this very moment, for I am touching you not through noise, but through a deep and subtle presence that reaches into the innermost depths of your soul. And it is within this stillness that you will begin to perceive that something is shifting, silent yet powerful, unhurried yet irreversible. This is not a random moment, nor is it the familiar passing of time like any other day. This is an appointed time, inscribed long before you understood what a beginning meant. I have placed my mark upon this day, and now you stand at the very center of a movement that heaven has prepared far in advance. As it is written, to everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. And now you are stepping into that very moment, not early, not late, but precisely aligned with my rhythm. Do not think that what you are sensing is merely a small emotional shift or a change in circumstances. No, this is a profound transition that reaches into your entire being, body, mind, and spirit. What once held you in a state of mere survival, where each day was spent simply enduring, is now falling away like a garment that no longer fits. I did not call you to survive. I called you to live with influence, with authority, and with a purpose that extends far beyond yourself. As it is written, you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, 1 Peter 2:9. And you must understand that this identity is not a distant concept. It is a reality you are now being brought into. Look deeper, and you will see that the seasons of trial you have walked through were never signs of abandonment, but stages of preparation. The times you were shaped were not meant to weaken you, but to strengthen you, to carry something greater. Now, I am no longer keeping you in the refining fire as before, for you have been purified enough to step into a new level. This is the place where correction no longer takes the form of pain, but becomes realignment, a sacred adjustment that brings every part of you into harmony with my will. As it is written, the path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Proverbs 4:18. And that light is now increasing within you. Remember the story of Joshua when the people stood before the Jordan River. The waters were still flowing, and the path had not yet opened. Yet I commanded them to step forward first. And when their feet touched the water, the river parted. Do you see? The miracle did not come before the step. The miracle came with obedience. In the same way, you are standing at a threshold where you cannot wait for everything to become clear before moving. I'm inviting you to step forward, not because you understand everything, but because you trust the one who leads you. As it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. For it is in that trust that you will see the path unfold before you. And I say this to you, my beloved, this is the hour when heaven declares, it is time, no longer a distant promise, no longer something you have only heard but not yet touched. This is a reality now unfolding. What was once delayed is now being released. What was once withheld is now being poured out. This is the moment when the latter glory surpasses all that came before. As it is written, the glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former. Haggai 2:9. And this is not only true of a temple that is taking place within you. Let me make this clear. You are no longer walking as one searching for your place. You are walking as one who has already been positioned. What you once thought you had to strive to attain is now something I am bringing you into. You do not have to strain to become you, only need to walk in what I have ordained. As it is written, for it is God who works in you to will and to act according to his good purpose. Philippians 2:13. So even the desires within you are evidence that I am already at work. Therefore, do not fear the shaking you feel. When I shake, it is not to destroy you, but to remove what no longer belongs to the new season. Old structures, old thought patterns, old limitations. These are being dismantled so that you may stand in a greater freedom. This is not loss, it is liberation. Not an ending, but a beginning on a higher level. As it is written, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" Isaiah 43:19. And you are witnessing that very reality in your own life. So continue forward, my beloved, not in anxiety, but in the certainty that I am with you in every step. You are no longer defined by your past, nor confined by your present. You are being drawn into a future that has already been prepared. And as you walk, you will see that all things are no longer working against you, but are aligning to lift you into the place I have appointed. For now, you are not merely passing through a season. You are stepping into a new era within your own life, where you do not live for yourself alone, but become a current of influence for generations to come. My beloved, perceive this with the full depth of your soul. I am not touching just one part of you, but drawing your entire being into a synchronized movement from your physical body to your thinking mind to your longing spirit. This is no longer a surface-level shift, nor a temporary adjustment. This is a foundational restructuring, where every layer of your being is brought into alignment with my rhythm. In the past, you have lived as one simply trying not to fall, as one gathering just enough strength to take the next step. But I tell you the truth, that way of living is no longer compatible with where I am leading you. As it is written, "The righteous shall live by faith," Romans 1:17. Not by fear of lack or the pressure of survival. And that faith is now becoming the foundation beneath your feet. There is something you must understand clearly. The end of the survival season does not come because circumstances suddenly become easier, but because your soul has matured enough to carry a higher reality. You are no longer driven by the need to hold on to what you have, but invited into the life of one who has already been given, one who no longer shrinks out of fear of loss, but expands in the awareness of belonging to an inexhaustible source. As it is written, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," Psalm 23:1. And from this place, you no longer operate from lack, but from the fullness I have placed within you. And that fullness will transform how you see, how you choose, and how you walk. You once learned to make yourself smaller to fit the expectations of others, to avoid misunderstanding, rejection, or standing apart. But I say to you now, the identity I have placed within you was never meant to be hidden. Light was not created to be concealed, but to shine. As it is written, "No one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house." Matthew 5:15. And you are that light. Therefore, you are no longer permitted to live in concealment. You are called to reveal, to express, and to step forward fully in all that I have placed within you from the beginning. And now, understand what I mean when I say that this moment has been circled in the heavenly realm. This is not a random image. It is my way of revealing a point of convergence where the promise I have spoken, the maturity you have gone through, and the purpose I have ordained intersect in a single moment. When these three elements meet, they create a point that no force can delay. You cannot accelerate it, and nothing can slow it down. This is the moment when everything is ready, not only outwardly, but more importantly, within you. As it is written, "When the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his Son," Galatians 4:4. And you must understand that everything I do follows the perfection of timing. Remember Joseph, who passed through years of being forgotten, betrayed, and imprisoned not because I had abandoned him, but because I was preparing him. Then, in a single day. He was brought out of the prison to stand before the king. That was not luck, that was a moment that had been marked in advance. Remember Ruth, who did not strive for a great future, but walked faithfully in small steps. And I positioned her at the right place and the right time to become part of a redemptive lineage. And remember Samuel, who as a young boy heard a voice in the night, a voice he did not at first understand. Yet that very call opened the course of his entire destiny. Do you see? The common thread was not favorable circumstances, but the meeting of preparation and the timing I had set. And now, you are standing at that very intersection. This is where time, maturity, and my intention converge. You are no longer standing at the edge of the promise. You are stepping into its center. Here, everything you have gone through is no longer a collection of scattered memories, but a firm foundation for what comes next. As it is written, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope." Jeremiah 29:11. And that future is no longer distant. It is beginning within your present step. Therefore, my beloved, do not return to your former way of living. Do not go back to the mindset of merely trying to get through the day. You have been drawn out of that place. You are being brought into a different rhythm, the rhythm of the kingdom, where you do not merely exist, but influence, not merely preserve yourself, but overflow, not merely receive, but become a source. Walk with this awareness. You are no longer a person limited by circumstances, but one who carries my presence. And as you walk in this, you will begin to see that everything around you starts to shift, not because you are striving to change it, but because your position in me has changed. My beloved, let this truth settle into the deepest part of your being when I lead you into a life that carries the atmosphere of the kingdom. I do not repair you in fragments, nor patch what is old. I touch your entire being in a complete intervention, where no part is left untouched. You have been accustomed to prolonged exhaustion, where your body felt like a burden, and each step required great effort. But I declare to you that season has come to an end. As it is written, "Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles." Isaiah 40:31. And this new strength does not come from striving harder, but from being sustained by me. Remember Elijah when he collapsed under the broom tree, believing his journey was over, yet my angel touched him, gave him bread and water, and from that provision he traveled 40 days without weariness. In the same way, I am placing within you a source not of the earth, so that your body is no longer bound by former limitations, but upheld by life from above. And when I touch your mind, I do not merely comfort it, I renew it. You once perceived reality through the lens of experience, fear, and past failures, but I am transforming the way you see. Like David, when my spirit came upon him, he no longer viewed Goliath as an unconquerable giant, but as one already destined to fall before my power. As it is written, man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. And now I am teaching you to see as I see not, according to what your eyes perceive, but according to what I have spoken. When your mind is realigned, fear will no longer occupy the center. In its place will arise clarity, and a deep awareness that you are not alone in any circumstance. Yet deeper still, my beloved, your spirit is being lifted. This is not a subtle shift you can easily overlook. This is a transformation that makes you altogether different. Remember the disciples, those who once locked themselves away in fear, but when the Holy Spirit came upon them, they stepped out with boldness that shook an entire generation. As it is written, you shall receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you. Acts 1:8. and that very power is now at work within you. You are no longer one who withdraws or retreats. You are being established to stand firm and to influence, not by your own strength, but by my presence within you. Understand this clearly. The transformation you are undergoing is not incremental, it is a commanded shift, like a decree released in heaven that sets everything into motion at once. This is the hour when heaven proclaims that you are being called out of the old, lifted beyond former limitations, and positioned into a new sphere of influence. You may not yet see it fully with your natural eyes, but that does not make it any less real. As it is written, "For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal." 2 Corinthians 4:18. So you must learn to trust what your spirit perceives more than what your circumstances reflect. Even if outwardly all seems quiet, without visible signs, do not let that silence deceive you. In the spiritual realm, a powerful movement is taking place. If you could hear with spiritual ears, you would discern that your environment is being rearranged. What no longer belongs is being removed, and what is appointed for you is being drawn near. As it is written, "The angel of the Lord encamps all around those who fear him, and delivers them." Psalm 34:7. And even when you cannot see it, that protection and divine ordering are actively at work around you. Now I invite you to look back on the journey you have walked, not with regret, but with the awareness of my hand in every stage. The trials you endured were not meant to break you, but to deepen you. The tears you shed were not signs of failure, but marks of formation. Remember the 3 friends of Daniel when they were cast into the fiery furnace. The fire did not consume them. It only burned away the bonds that had held them captive. As it is written, "I see 4 men walking freely in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt." Daniel 3:25. And the same has been true in your life. The fires you once feared became the very places where I set you free from unseen restraints. Therefore, my beloved, do not look at your past as a scattered sequence of pain. See it instead as a tapestry I have woven each thread, whether bright or dark, contributing to the fullness of the design. What wounded you has expanded your heart. What weakened you has taught you to rely on me. What silenced you has enabled you to hear my voice more clearly. And now, as you stand at this point, you are no longer the one who merely entered the journey. You are the one who has been prepared for what is coming. Stand firmly in this understanding. You are not starting over. You are moving forward from a foundation that has been carefully built. And from that foundation, I will lead you farther, higher, and deeper, not by your own strength, but by the life I am pouring through you. My beloved, listen to me as a craftsman who carefully holds a rare instrument. For you are in my hands, being tuned in ways you have never perceived, adjusted in hidden tensions and inner resonances you were not aware of before. I do not work only on the surface, I move into your very structure, where body, mind, and spirit converge like layers of sound in a great composition. In the past, you lived like one striking, disconnected notes simply to maintain existence. Each day an effort to keep from falling out of rhythm, but now I am bringing you into another reality, one where you are no longer compelled to react to circumstances, but are empowered to create, to lead, and to release what has never yet existed. As it is written, "Sing to the Lord a new song," Psalm 96:1. And that new song is not merely sound, it is the new life I am composing through you. Understand this clearly. My beloved, you are no longer in the phase of striving to survive. That season has fulfilled its purpose. Now you are stepping into the position of one appointed to influence, not because you have achieved it by your own effort, but because I have determined that you are ready to carry what I entrust to you. You are no longer one who clings to life as something fragile, You are becoming one who carries life, who releases life, like a stream flowing endlessly from an unceasing source. As it is written, "He who believes in me, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water." John 7:38. And that flow is now being opened within you. You once feared making the wrong choices, hesitated at crossroads, and doubted yourself. But I tell you now, you no longer stand in the position of one bound by that fear. I have placed authority in your hands, not for domination, but for the execution of what I have ordained. Remember Moses, when he stood before the Red Sea. He was not merely a fugitive. He was the one holding my staff. And when he stretched out his hand, the sea had to part. As it is written, "Lift up your rod and divide it." Exodus 14:16. And you must understand that the power was never in the staff, but in the one who spoke behind it. In the same way, as you walk in my commission, what once seemed impossible will yield before you. Yet before you fully step into that execution, I am leading you through a deeper process, not to exhaust you, but to refine you into precision. I see every layer within you, the weariness you have not spoken, the wounds you have hidden so deeply that even you have forgotten them, the shadows you believed no one could see. But nothing has ever been hidden from me. As it is written, there is no creature hidden from his sight. Hebrews 4:13. And when I touch those places, it is not to expose you in shame, but to heal you in love. Let me remind you of a story you may already know, but now you will understand it differently. When Elisha followed Elijah, he did not immediately step into great power. He walked through a journey of persistence from Gilgal to Bethel, then to Jericho, and finally to the Jordan. Each step was a testing, a refining, and when Elijah was taken up, Elisha received the mantle and struck the waters, asking, "Where is the Lord God of Elijah?" And the waters parted. That moment was not his first miracle. It was the manifestation of a preparation that had been unfolding all along. Do you see? What others recognize as power is only the visible expression of an inward alignment that has already taken place. In the same way, you are in that very process now. This is not merely the healing of what was broken. It is the calibration that allows you to function in the frequency of the kingdom. I am strengthening your body, clarifying your mind, and sharpening your spirit so that when you move, you no longer fall out of rhythm or lose direction, but flow in alignment with me. As it is written, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Romans 12:2. For only when you are renewed within can you fully live out what I have ordained. My beloved, do not be afraid of this process, even when it feels as though you are being drawn out of what is familiar, as though what once gave you security is being dismantled. Remember that I am doing this to bring you into a new structure, one that is stronger, Veda, and aligned with the purpose I have set for you. This is not destruction for an end, it is reconstruction for elevation. As it is written, "Behold, I make all things new." Revelation 21:5. And you are part of that newness. So open your heart fully, hold nothing back, resist nothing, fear nothing. For in this moment, this appointed moment, I am completing a great work within you. And when that work is brought to completion, you will no longer walk as you once did. You will walk as one who knows who you are, what you carry, and why you have been sent. From this point forward, you will not merely live, you will become the living expression of what I have spoken. My beloved, look at yourself as a vessel resting in the hands of a master craftsman. For I am working on you, not with haste, but with precision, not with noise, but with depth. And in this process, every layer within you, body, mind, and spirit is being touched, adjusted, and elevated to align with what I have ordained from the beginning. Do not be surprised if you sense unusual shifts within yourself, for they are not signs of weakness, but evidence that a restructuring is taking place. As it is written, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. And what I am doing goes beyond healing. I am calibrating you for a new level of operation. Begin with your body, for it has carried more than you have realized. There have been nights when you could not sleep without understanding why. Mornings when you awoke, feeling as though your strength had been drained, and subtle pains that lingered like quiet signals. None of these have been without purpose. You may have thought it was ordinary fatigue, but I tell you that your body has been responding to what is unfolding in the spiritual realm. When Elijah collapsed under the wilderness tree, it was not merely physical exhaustion, it was the response of a man who had just passed through a great transition. When Daniel received a vision, his strength left him, for the body cannot instantly sustain the intensity of what is divine. As it is written, I was left alone, and no strength remained in me. Daniel 10:8. Showing that the body is often the first to register movement in the unseen realm. But do not be afraid, for I will not allow your body to break. I am causing it to adapt, increasing its endurance, expanding its capacity so that you may stand firm in the new environment I am bringing you into. In the days ahead, you will notice a difference. Your strength will no longer rely solely on rest or nourishment, but will arise from a deeper source. As it is written, He gives power to the weary and increases the strength of the weak. Isaiah 40:29. And that power is beginning to operate within your body, causing what once drained you to gradually lose its hold. Then I turn to your mind the place where you have fought battles unseen by others. Your thoughts have passed through crowded spaces filled with echoes of the past, anxieties, and voices that were never mine. There were moments when you wondered whether your mind could ever be still, whether there would come a day when you would no longer be pulled into endless cycles of thought. But I speak to you with the certainty of one who does not fail. There is no mind beyond my ability to restore. As it is written, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. And that renewal is not something you must produce. It is something I am accomplishing within you. Imagine your mind as a tangled fabric, each thread woven into knots over the years, and now I am patiently loosening each one. You will begin to notice the change, not sudden, but unmistakable. Scattered thoughts will gradually gather into focus. The inner noise will quiet down. The fears that once occupied space will fall away like dry leaves in a changing season. As it is written, the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4:7. And that very peace will become the new foundation of your thinking, a foundation not easily shaken by circumstances. And then, my beloved, I reach into the deepest layer, your spirit. This is where you have fought unseen battles, where you have stood between two places, unwilling to return to what was, yet not fully stepped into what is ahead. There were moments when it felt as though the fire within you had diminished, as if your passion and vitality were fading, but I tell you that fire has never been extinguished. It has been preserved, held in place, awaiting the moment I would breathe upon it again. As it is written, the Lord God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. Genesis 2:7. And now I am breathing upon your spirit once more. Remember the vision of Ezekiel in the valley of dry bones, a place where no life seemed to remain. Yet when my breath entered, everything rose into a living army. This is not merely a story, it is a picture of what I am doing within you. I am touching the parts you believed were frozen and causing them to move again. I am removing every trace of a survival mindset fear, contraction, hesitation, not because you are weak, But because you no longer belong to that level, you cannot step into a great calling with a spirit that is only sustained enough to endure each day. You are called to carry the atmosphere of the kingdom, a spirit that is expansive, resilient, filled, and ready to give. As it is written, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, 2 Timothy 1-7. And that spirit is being restored within you even now. So, my beloved, receive this process, not with anxiety, but with trust. I am working in you not in fragments, but as a whole. And when this work is complete, you will no longer recognize yourself as before. You will rise with a body sustained, a mind made clear, and a spirit filled with life ready to step into what I have ordained, not merely to exist, but to influence, to open paths, and to carry my presence wherever you are sent. My beloved, let me reveal to you a deeper truth that you once perceived only in fragments, but which I now bring together into one unified flow. Your body, mind, and spirit do not function separately, but are connected like strings within a single instrument. When one string is tuned, the entire sound changes, and when all are brought into the right frequency, the music becomes whole instead of fragmented. I am the one tuning every layer within you, leaving nothing overlooked and nothing out of rhythm, so that your life will no longer be a delayed reaction to circumstances, but a precise expression of my intention. As it is written, God is not the author of confusion but of peace, 1 Corinthians 14:33. And that peace is the sign that every part of you is being brought into divine order. Recognize how I am working. When your body is restored and receives new strength, your mind no longer needs to build defensive walls as it once did. When your mind is no longer strained in resistance, it becomes still. And in that stillness, your spirit begins to speak more clearly. And when your spirit is strong and full of life, your body responds with peace, a peace not derived from circumstances, but from my presence within you. As it is written, may the God of peace himself sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit, soul, and body be preserved blameless. 1 Thessalonians 5:23. And you are now stepping into that very wholeness. You have grown accustomed to living in delay, a mode where you had to wait, to feel your way forward, to react only after events had already unfolded. But I am bringing you out of that pattern of operation. When the 3 dimensions within you are brought into alignment, you will begin to live with precision. You will no longer be carried along by circumstances, but will become one who shapes them. You will no longer strive just to sustain yourself, but will begin to release the atmosphere of the kingdom, an atmosphere in which peace, clarity, and authority flow from you into your surroundings. As it is written, you are the salt of the earth, you are the light of the world, Matthew 5:13-14. And this is not merely a title, it is the way you function when you abide in me. But my beloved, understand this, the work I am doing in you does not end with you. What I am realigning in you today will open the way for those who come after you. Every time you release a fear, you are not only setting yourself free, you are breaking a cycle that future generations will no longer need to carry. Every time you step into truth, you are creating a clearer path for the footsteps that will follow. Just as Abraham walked by faith and opened a lineage, as it is written, in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed, Genesis 12:3. So you are walking in a process of legacy, one that extends far beyond your personal life. Remember David when he stood before Goliath. His victory was not his alone. It awakened courage in an entire nation that had been trembling behind him. One act of trust reshaped the atmosphere of a generation. In the same way, every step you take in obedience and authority will not stop with you. It will ripple outward, build momentum, and become a foundation for those who have never known you, yet will walk upon the path you have opened. Therefore, I speak to you with solemn clarity, not to instill fear, but to awaken you. You are not called to live in fear. You are not called to shrink back and preserve a small existence. You are called to carry the atmosphere of the kingdom, an atmosphere that transforms every place you enter. You are not called to conserve your strength for yourself. You are called to become a source of strength for the environments around you. You are not called to struggle merely to survive. You are called to be sent with clear purpose. And when this process reaches its fullness, you will recognize the difference unmistakably. You will no longer walk with the familiar trembling, for steadiness will become your natural state. As it is written, He makes my feet like the feet of deer, and sets me upon my high places. Psalm 18:33. And from that place, you will no longer see life through your former perspective. Your mind will not be confined by old lenses. It will think with clarity, discernment, and understanding that comes from me. Your actions will no longer be driven by fear, but guided by authority, an authority not originating from you, but from the one who lives within you. Step into this, my beloved, without hesitation, without turning back. For you are no longer the person you once were trying to become better. You are one who has been repositioned to live within a new reality, a reality where body, mind, and spirit move in harmony, where you do not merely live, but radiate, not merely exist, but shape, not merely receive, but become a flowing source of life for generations to come. My beloved, stand still within this presence and listen to me. For now I am not speaking as one who gently comforts you in moments of weakness, but as the one who sits upon the throne, the one who has appointed your time, sealed your destiny, and does not waver in my decision concerning your life. I declare with unshakable certainty, you no longer belong to the atmosphere of one who merely strives to survive. That season has fulfilled its purpose. You have passed through it, learned from it, and now I am bringing you out of it. As it is written, you shall no longer be called forsaken, but you shall be called my delight. Isaiah 62:4. And that new name is becoming a reality within you, not as an idea, but as a foundation for how you live. You no longer breathe with the breath of striving, where every step is an effort to keep from falling. You now carry the breath of commissioning, the breath of one who knows they have been sent. Just as when I breathed into Adam, he did not merely receive life, but purpose. So the breath I am placing within you is not only to sustain you, but to move you into execution. As it is written, you send forth your spirit. They are created, Psalm 104:30. And that breath is now reshaping how you walk, how you speak, and how you appear in the world. You are no longer building your life by your own effort. You are walking in what has already been ordained. Recognize this transition, for it will not come like a loud storm, but like the light of dawn spreading over the mountains, quiet, yet unstoppable. You will see darkness recede without striving. You will notice that what once caused hesitation is losing its power. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. And that light is increasing within you. What you carry is no longer a reaction to circumstances. It is a presence that causes circumstances to change. You once waited for opportunities, searched for doors, and wondered when you would be used. But I tell you plainly, you are no longer one who stands outside waiting. In this season, your very steps will open doors. Your presence will create opportunity. Like Peter at the beautiful gate, he did not ask for an opportunity. He acted from what had already been given. And the lame man rose. As it is written, what I have I give to you, Acts 3:6. And this is how you will now function, not from lack, but from what I have placed within you. You will no longer ask, "Am I enough, or will I ever be used?" Those questions belong to a former season, when your identity was not yet clear. The chosen do not live in uncertainty about their worth. They walk in the assurance that they have been entrusted with a portion. As it is written, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you," John 15:16. And that choosing does not shift with emotion or circumstance. It stands firm, and you are now stepping into that stability. And my beloved, I want you to see your true stature, not through the lens of your past, nor through the limitations you once believed were real. Your measure is not defined by what you have done, but by the light I have placed within you that is now growing. Remember David as a young shepherd. No one saw him as a king, but I did. When he stood before Goliath, he did not stand by physical stature, but by the awareness of who he belonged to. As it is written, "The battle is the Lord's," 1 Samuel 17:47. And when you understand this, you will no longer be diminished by what stands before you. There is a story I want you to hold close. Esther did not enter the palace by striving for position, but because I placed her there for an appointed time. When that moment came, she was no longer a girl carried by circumstance. She became one who altered the destiny of a nation. As it is written, "Who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" Esther 4:14. Do you see? The meeting of time and position is never accidental, it is orchestration. And now, you too are standing in such a moment. Therefore, my beloved, you are no longer living each day merely to get through it. You are no longer measuring yourself by whether you feel okay or not. You are now living to impact, to bring life into barren places, to establish order where there is chaos, and to open paths where none have existed before. As it is written, "I will go before you and make the crooked places straight," Isaiah 45:2. And you do not walk alone, I go before you, and you follow in my steps. Rise in this awareness. You are no longer defined by circumstances. You are one who carries the atmosphere of the kingdom. When you enter a place, you do not merely arrive, you establish. When you speak, you do not merely produce sound, you release. When you act, you do not merely react, you execute. From this point forward, your life will become a continuous flow of influence, quiet, yet undeniable, unpretentious, yet filled with authority. Go forward, my beloved, without turning back, without doubt, without diminishing yourself. For you have been appointed to walk as one who carries royal authority, one who knows where you come from, to whom you belong, and for what purpose you have been sent. And as you walk in this understanding, you will see that every place you step into will not remain the same, because you carry my presence with you. Receive this word as a seal placed deep within your soul, not as a passing sound, but as a living command that begins to operate within every breath you take. I have not called you merely to hear, I have called you to carry. To carry the atmosphere of the kingdom is not an abstract idea, but a tangible reality expressed through how you live, from the smallest spaces that seem unnoticed to the greater environments into which you will be sent. You do not need to wait for a great moment to begin, for your present step is already the beginning of something great. As it is written, "He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much," Luke 16:10. So every place you stand becomes an altar, and every action you take becomes an act of execution. Stand as one supported by heaven, not with self-generated confidence, but with the certainty that comes from knowing to whom you belong. When Elisha was surrounded, his servant trembled at the sight of the enemy's army, but when his spiritual eyes were opened, he saw the hills filled with horses and chariots of fire surrounding them. As it is written, "Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." 2 Kings 6:16. And you must know that the support around you never lacks. You do not walk alone, nor do you make decisions in isolation. There is an unseen host accompanying you, guarding you, and establishing what you cannot accomplish by yourself. Act as one who has been sent, not as one searching for a place. You do not need to prove your worth, for your worth was established before you ever began to move. Like Moses standing before Pharaoh, he did not come to request a position, he came to carry out a command. And when he lifted the staff, he was not proving his own power, but revealing the power of the one who sent him. As it is written, "I will be with you," Exodus 3:12. And that presence is the assurance behind every step you take. My beloved, understand this deeply. What you choose today does not end with you. Every step you take in courage becomes firm ground for those who will come after you. Every fear you refuse to bow to loses its power over the next generation. Every truth you embrace becomes a clearer path for souls who have never even met you. Just as Abraham walked by faith and opened the way for a blessed lineage. As it is written, "You shall be a blessing," Genesis 12:2. So you are stepping into the role of a pathfinder, not living for yourself alone, but creating a way for many. Therefore, do not regard this moment as random. It is not the product of earthly factors colliding by chance. It is a point that has been appointed, marked, and opened at the precise time. As it is written, "For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong on behalf of those whose heart is loyal to him." 2 Chronicles 16:9. And you are standing within that gaze, not overlooked, not delayed, but chosen at the right time. Now step toward the door that stands open before you, not as one hesitant, but as one ready. This is not a symbolic doorway, but a real one, where your body has been strengthened, your mind renewed, and your spirit filled with life. I do not want you to leave this word with only a passing feeling, for feelings fade. I want you to leave with a position established. As it is written, "Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth," Ephesians 6:14. And that firmness is what I am placing within you. Walk with the awareness that your destiny has been activated, not vaguely, but in a way that cannot be reversed. You will not return to the old path, because you are no longer the old person. As it is written, "If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation," 2 Corinthians 5:17. And that newness is not ahead of you. It is already at work within you now. So go, my beloved, without delay, without doubt. Go as one who carries the atmosphere of the kingdom, as one who knows they are sent, as one who knows they are sustained, and as one who knows they are appointed to influence. And as you step through this door, you will see, not only will your life be transformed, but everything you touch will begin to move according to the light you carry. My beloved, look back on your journey with eyes that have now been opened. For I do not want you to remember your past as scattered fragments, but as a symphony intentionally composed. The tears you shed were never wasted. The long nights when you believed you faced the darkness alone were recorded as notes in a greater composition of growth. You have passed through turns that seemed accidental. But I tell you this, nothing in my hands is ever by chance. As it is written, all things work together for good to those who love God, Romans 8:28. So even what you did not understand then has been serving what I am now completing within you. Understand this deeply. My beloved, you are not stepping into this present moment empty-handed. You carry within you the weight of one who has been refined by fire, shaped through pressure, and sharpened through seasons that once seemed as though they would bring you to collapse. Each time you rose after believing you could not stand again. You added to your soul a layer of strength that cannot be replaced, like gold tested in the furnace. You have passed through a process I allowed not to weaken you, but to purify and fortify you. As it is written, "When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold," Job 23:10. And that gold is now shining within you. Even if you do not yet fully see it, now I draw back the veil that once you were not ready to see through. And I reveal to you something far greater than yourself. You have not only been healed to live better, you have not only been lifted to go farther, you are being positioned so that your life becomes the starting point of a new flow. What I am doing in you today does not end within the boundaries of your lifetime. It extends forward through time, reaching people you have not met, preparing paths for steps you have not yet seen. Just as Abraham became the father of many nations, not because he sought it, but because he trusted and walked. As it is written, "I have made you a father of many nations," Genesis 17:5. So you are being placed into a role of legacy, a role that surpasses your personal life. Picture this, my beloved. The chains you have broken in silence will no longer have power over those who come after you. The battles you have endured will not need to be repeated in the next generation. The right choices you have faithfully upheld, even when unseen, are becoming a solid foundation upon which others will stand without paying the same cost. Just as the people of Israel crossed the Jordan on dry ground because the waters had already been stopped, you are preparing a way for those behind you to walk with greater ease. As it is written, "Choose life, that both you and your descendants may live," Deuteronomy 30:19. And the choices you make today are echoing into the lives of many tomorrow. You are not only changing your own life, you are altering the current of a spiritual lineage. This is not a statement of encouragement, it is a decree issued from me. I am the one who has used a single person to liberate an entire people, who has used one act of obedience to shift the course of an age. Remember Joseph. He was not only lifted out of prison, he became the one who preserved life for his family and for many nations during famine. As it is written, "God sent me before you to preserve life," Genesis 45:5. And you too are stepping into a role whose influence extends far beyond what you have imagined. Perhaps what I am speaking over you is too great, too far beyond the way you have been accustomed to thinking about yourself. But I say this to you, it is precisely because it is great that I chose you. I did not choose you because you were already perfect, nor because you had never stumbled. I chose you because you learned how to rise again, because you learned how to trust even when you did not understand, because you learned how to surrender even when it was not easy. As it is written, "God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble," James 4:6. And it is your humility, your faithfulness, and your willingness to be transformed that have made way for me to do greater things through you. So, my beloved, do not diminish what I am doing, simply to make it fit the way you once saw yourself. Let your vision expand until it matches the way I see you. You are not someone who happened to step into a favorable moment by chance. You are one who has been positioned at the right time to become a turning point. Just as Esther was placed in the palace for such a time as this, Esther 4:14. So you too are standing in a moment marked by destiny. Receive this. Then, not with hesitation, but with conviction. For you are not merely one who survived difficult seasons. You are one who has been prepared to carry something greater. And from this point on, every step you take will no longer be the step of an isolated individual, but the step of one who carries widening influence, an influence that will touch many lives, many generations, and many stories yet to be written. My beloved, pause for a moment and take a deep breath, not merely to recover the rhythm of your body, but to recognize the new rhythm now beginning to move within you. This is not the end of a journey, but the beginning of another reality, a reality in which you are no longer held back by hesitation or by old patterns that once limited you. I am bringing you into the rhythm of commissioning, where each step you take is no longer experimental, but purposeful and executed with intent. As it is written, "The steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord," Psalm 37:23. So you are no longer walking in randomness, but in an arrangement set in place beforehand. You no longer act like one hoping that someday you might be used. You are living as one who is already being used now. The difference does not lie in outward circumstances, but in the position within you. When Isaiah stood before me and heard the call, he did not ask whether he was enough. He answered, "Here am I. Send me." Isaiah 2:11. That is the kindness I am forming within you, the posture of one no longer trapped in doubt, but stepping into obedience. And in that obedience, you will discover that the ability does not come from you, but from me, the one who has placed words in your mouth and fire in your spirit. Let your words be transformed, my beloved, for you no longer speak as you once did. You do not speak from fear, from self-protection, or from the need to prove yourself. You speak as one whose voice has been touched by me. As it is written, "The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life," Proverbs 10:11. And from this moment, your words are no longer mere sounds. They carry life. They shape reality. They release the atmosphere I have placed within you. When you open your mouth, you are not merely expressing thoughts. You are releasing what I have already sown deep within you. And now stand not as one trying to keep from falling, but as one upheld from within and surrounded on every side. The support you carry does not come from what your eyes can see, but from what your spirit knows with certainty. Remember Elisha when he prayed for his servant's eyes to be opened? And the young man saw the mountain filled with horses and chariots of fire surrounding them. As it is written, "Those who are with us are more than those who are with them," 2 Kings 6:16. And you too stand within that covering, a protection not dependent on circumstance, but rooted in my presence. From this point forward, you will look upon the future differently, no longer with the gaze of anxiety, speculation, or fear of the unknown, but with the vision of one who knows they have been placed in the right position, at the right time, within the right context. Just as Esther was placed in the palace for such a time as this, Esther 4:14. So you are standing within a moment of destiny. This means the future is no longer an uncertain threat. It is a prepared space into which you will step with assurance. My child, now that the word has been spoken and the seal has been set upon your soul, I call you to enter this closing moment as one standing before an open door, not a symbolic or distant image, but a real threshold. Here, your body has been strengthened, your mind renewed, your spirit filled with life, your identity has been restored, your mission is ready to ignite, and the atmosphere of the kingdom begins to radiate through every breath you take. I do not want you to leave this message with only an emotional response. For emotions fade. I want you to leave with a position established, with posture, awareness, and awakening the awareness of one who knows that destiny has just been activated in a way that cannot be reversed. Look and see, the journey you have walked was never a series of meaningless fragments. It was not random hardship, nor accidental turning points. Every tear, every long night, every prayer, every fall, and every rising again, all of it has composed the music of your formation, which I now use as the foundation to lift you in this appointed hour. Nothing you have endured has been wasted. Every part has contributed to the strength you now carry. You do not enter this circled moment empty-handed. You step into it bearing the weight of one who has been refined, tested, shaped, and proven through seasons that once seemed ready to overwhelm your soul. Now I draw back the final veil and show you what you were not yet ready to see. You are not only restored, not only lifted, not only directed, you are called to influence generations. What I am doing in you today carries power that moves through time. You are the beginning of a new current. You are a marker for those who will look upon your life and find hope, resilience, and my presence. The generations that follow will not have to fight the battles you fought, because you have broken those chains for them. They will stand upon the foundation you have built with your tears, your right choices, and your faithfulness in the unseen days. Receive this, my beloved, not merely as encouragement, but as a true transition taking place within you. You are no longer standing outside, observing what I am doing. You are within it. You are no longer waiting for a beginning. You have already begun. From this moment forward, every step you take will bear the mark of commissioning. Every word you speak will carry the resonance of life. And every gaze you cast toward the future will reflect the certainty that you are not misplaced. You are exactly where I have appointed you to be. And now, as the rhythm of sending has begun to move within you, as you no longer stand in the posture of waiting but have entered the flow of execution, open your heart even deeper, not to gather more knowledge, but to respond with the awakened soul within you. Let what I have sown in you not remain as understanding alone, but rise as a living voice from the deepest place within you. For it is in that offering that you become one with what I am doing. And from there, every layer within you is brought into unity in my presence. So lift your voice not according to old patterns, not with familiar phrases, but with the authentic rhythm of your heart as it responds to me. For I do not seek polished words, I seek truth within your spirit. Now, from the deepest place of your being, pour out your prayer to me with sincerity, with longing, without concealment. O Almighty God, the one who formed me before I knew my own existence, today I come before you, not as a stranger, but as a soul that has been called again in the midst of life's unfolding. I recognize that every step I have taken, every season I have passed through, has never been outside your reach. And now as I stand in this moment that has been opened, I offer myself to you, not the version I tried to become, but who I truly am. With all that has been transformed and all that is still being shaped, continue your work within me. Not merely that I may feel better, but that I may become aligned with what you have ordained. For as it is written, it is God who works in you to will and to act according to his good purpose. And I yield my desires so that they may be formed by yours. O Father of lights, unchanging and steadfast, I ask that you touch every hidden thought within my mind, every place where fear still tries to take root, every memory that whispers in moments of weakness. Do not only remove these things, but replace them with your truth, so that my mind is no longer a battlefield of opposing voices, but a dwelling place of clarity and peace. As it is written, the peace of God will guard your hearts and minds. Let that peace become my foundation, so that when I face the future, I am no longer led by anxiety, but by the assurance that you are guiding me. O breath of life, I offer you my spirit, the place that has endured dry seasons, unseen battles, and moments when I thought the fire within me had faded. Yet now I understand that the fire was never extinguished, only waiting for your breath. Breathe upon it again, not for a momentary flame, but for a steady, enduring fire that remains strong and radiant in every circumstance. As it is written, fan into flame the gift of God within you. I choose not to neglect what you have placed in me, but to keep it alive and burning each day. O faithful shepherd, I bring before you my body, which has carried the weight of silent struggles, unseen weariness, and burdens I did not always understand. Restore it with your strength, not merely to sustain me, but to empower me to walk in what you have called me to do. Let your life flow through every part of me, so that I am no longer limited by what once drained me, but upheld by the power that comes from you, as it is written. He gives power to the weary and increases the strength of the weak. I receive that strength now, not as something distant, but as a present reality within me. O Lord of all purpose, I surrender my future into your hands, not with fear, but with trust, knowing that I am not walking into uncertainty, but into a path you have already prepared. Teach me to move, not by what I see, but by what you have spoken, as it is written. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. I choose to rest in that trust, allowing it to guide every decision, every step, and every response within me. And in this moment, I give you thanks, O God of faithfulness, for never leaving me, even in the seasons when I did not recognize your presence. I thank you that every trial, every delay, every unanswered question has been part of a greater work you were forming within me, as it is written. All things work together for good to those who love God. I now see that nothing has been wasted, and I honor you for your wisdom that has guided me through it all. I also thank you, O God of grace, for trusting me enough to place this calling within my life. I do not take it lightly, nor do I assume it as my own achievement, but I receive it as a sacred trust. Give me the humility to carry it rightly, the courage to walk in it fully, and the faith to remain steadfast even when the path is not fully revealed. For as it is written, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you. I embrace that choosing, and I step forward with a heart that is ready to follow wherever you lead. My beloved, remain in this posture, not as one who has merely spoken words, but as one who has entered into alignment. For what has been released in this moment does not end here. It continues. It grows. It unfolds within you. And from this place, you will rise not as you once were, but as one who has been renewed, established, and sent. O God of commissioning, I no longer ask you to give me a position, for I know that my place has already been appointed. I ask instead that you give me a heart that is ready to step into it. Remove from me all hesitation, all habits of delay, all indecision that has ever held me back. Teach me to walk not when everything is clear before my eyes, but when I hear your voice, as Abraham left his familiar place without knowing where he was going, yet still walked in trust. So I ask to walk in that same faith, not needing to understand everything, but trusting completely. O loving Father, I ask you to use my life not only for myself, but for those I have never met, and for generations I will never know. Let every decision I make today become a foundation for others tomorrow. Let what you do in me not be limited to the span of my lifetime, but flow onward into future generations. As it is written, the righteous will be remembered forever. I do not seek fame, but a spiritual legacy, a flowing river of life that is never interrupted. And now, in the midst of these prayers, my heart rises in deep gratitude, not because everything is already perfect, but because I realize that, even in what is still unfinished, you are at work. O faithful God, I thank you for never abandoning me in seasons I did not understand, but patiently guiding me step by step. As it is written, he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. I believe that this journey will not be left unfinished, but will be brought to completion by your own hand. And I also offer you thanks, because you have chosen me not because I am worthy, but because your love for me is greater than all my limitations. I thank you for trusting me enough to entrust me with a part of your plan, and I respond not with perfection, but with faithfulness. As it is written, whoever is faithful in little is also faithful in much. I choose to live each day in that faithfulness, knowing that every small step carries great meaning in your hands. My beloved, rise from this place of prayer, not as one who has only asked, but as one who has received, not as one still searching, but as one who has been positioned. For I have heard you, I have touched you, and I am still working within you. From this place, you will walk in a new rhythm, the rhythm of commissioning, the rhythm of certainty, the rhythm of a life carrying the atmosphere of the kingdom where you do not merely exist, but radiate life, not merely walk, but open paths, not merely live for yourself, but become a source of blessing for many generations. Thank you for listening to this message. Know that you are not merely a listener. You are one chosen to live daily in the presence of the Word of God. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss any divine message. Amen. My beloved child, there are things you expect me to change right before your eyes. Yet what I choose to do first lies deeper than any circumstance. I do not begin at the surface. I touch the pivot within the place where every thought, every decision, every step of yours is born. If the direction of your heart is misaligned even by a thread, then no matter how fast you move, you will drift farther from what I have appointed. Therefore, my intervention is not to hinder you, but to keep you from a path that seems right yet leads you astray. As it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. I am teaching you to reset the axis of your life, not according to feelings, but according to the truth that proceeds from me. But do not think that this correction is always loud or obvious. Many times, I work in a stillness so deep that you feel as though nothing is happening. You look for grand signs and powerful shifts, yet I choose the way of subtlety. Remember the story of the boy Samuel. When I called to him in the night, at first, he did not recognize my voice and thought it was his teacher speaking. Only after repeated listening and guidance did he understand that it was I who was calling him. 1 Samuel 3:4-10. So it is with you. You are in a season where my voice does not thunder, but seeps in, does not overwhelm, but persists, does not compel, but gently leads. I am training the ears of your heart so you may discern me among many voices. Therefore, when you find yourself no longer attached to what once felt familiar, do not hastily assume that you are losing something. In truth, you are being separated from what no longer aligns with the person I am forming within you. This letting go is not loss, but preparation. Just as Abraham left his homeland without knowing where he would go, simply because he trusted my word. Go from your country to the land I will show you. Genesis 12:1. So you are being led into a journey whose destination is not yet revealed, yet whose foundation is being firmly laid day by day. Do not fear the space between what has been released and what has not yet appeared, for it is there that I work most deeply. My beloved, what I am doing within you is not a minor adjustment, but a complete remeasuring. Like a careful builder, I do not merely look at the outward form, but examine every foundation, every angle. There are things you have grown accustomed to, relying on ways of thinking, reactions, habits, but if they are no longer aligned with truth, I will not allow them to remain. You may feel discomfort as they are dismantled, but understand this: I do not tear down to leave you disoriented. I tear down to rebuild upon a firmer foundation. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? Psalm 11:3. I am the one who restores that foundation, not by your strength, but by my presence within you. Recognize that the transformation I bring does not arise from outward effort, but from inward renewal. You cannot force yourself into change by sheer will. True transformation begins when your mind is made new. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. This is not merely a command, but an invitation to step into the process I am carrying out. When your mind is aligned, your choices will naturally shift. When your heart is set in the right direction, your steps will no longer wander. You must also understand that I am not only correcting your direction, but teaching you how to walk with discernment. In the past, you may have reacted according to emotions, habits, or what you learned from the world. But now, I am training you to listen before you act, to perceive before you respond. This slowing down is not delay, but maturity. As it is written, your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, this is the way, walk in it. Isaiah 30:21. I am placing that voice within you, so that you no longer have to grope in uncertainty, but can walk in clear guidance from within. Therefore, do not resist this process simply because it does not resemble what you expected. There are things I am doing in you that you will only understand later. There are things I remove not because they are bad, but because they no longer align with where I am leading you. And there are things I preserve, even when you wish to release them, because they are essential for the journey ahead. Trust that I see the whole picture, while you only see fragments. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways. Isaiah 55:8. And precisely because of this, you can rest and entrust yourself to me, my beloved. I do not require you to understand everything. I simply invite you to trust. Trust that every adjustment, every separation, every silence carries purpose. Trust that I have not left you in this process, but am very near, closer than what you can perceive. And as you continue to walk with a soft and willing heart, you will realize that you are no longer being pulled by former forces. You will find yourself standing firmer, clearer, more at peace, not because your circumstances have changed, but because your inner axis has been set in the right place. Keep your heart open before me. Do not rush back to what is familiar just because you feel uncomfortable with what is new. Allow me to complete the work I have begun. For I am not only leading you along the right path, I am shaping you to become a right path. And when that work is complete, you will not only arrive where I have appointed, but you will become one who guides others to walk in the light I have placed within you. My beloved child, there will be moments when you stand before a choice that appears clear and reasonable to your mind. Yet, something within causes you to hesitate, as though a gentle but firm force is holding you back from stepping forward. Do not grow frustrated with that feeling, and do not assume it means you lack decisiveness. In that very moment, my hand is upon you not to prevent you from living, but to keep you from entering what does not belong to you. For I see the turns ahead that you cannot yet perceive, and I will not allow you to wander simply because a choice appears right. As it is written, there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Proverbs 14:12. So the pause you feel is not an obstacle, but my hidden protection over you. And there will be seasons when you realize you can no longer live as you once did, no longer return to the thoughts, habits, or connections that once made you feel secure. This is not because you are weak or lost, but because you have outgrown that place. When a soul is expanded, it no longer fits within former boundaries. Like a vessel that has been refired, it cannot return to its original form. I am bringing about in you a maturity that cannot be reversed. and the discomfort you feel is the sign that you have crossed into a new threshold. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. 1 Corinthians 13:11. This word is alive in your journey, not as a theory, but as a reality unfolding day by day. Within that same current, you will begin to recognize a different kind of thirst rising within you, a longing no longer directed toward surface things, but toward what is deep, true, and eternal. You will no longer be satisfied with what merely keeps you occupied. You will begin to seek what transforms you. This is not lack, it is invitation. I am drawing you closer, not by force, but by the attraction of love. As it is written, draw near to God, and He will draw near to you, James 4:8. I am opening a space of communion where you do not merely know about me, but truly live in me, and allow me to live in you. Do not think that I am only adjusting a few minor details in your life. I am preparing you for a season in which you will no longer be carried away by circumstances as before. The time will come when you realize that what once unsettled you no longer holds power over you, because something within you has been rightly aligned. When your heart is set in order, your steps will no longer strive to be right. They will naturally move in the right way. As it is written, a man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Proverbs 16:9. So your part is not to control every turn, but to remain in trust. I do not require you to understand the entire journey. I invite you to walk in surrender. Let your heart soften before me. Do not harden yourself against change simply because it draws you out of what is familiar. What I lead you away from is not something you are losing, but something you no longer need to carry. Do not return just because you remember the old feeling. For where I am leading you is not an empty void, but a path already prepared. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. That promise is not distant, it is unfolding with each step you take, even if you do not yet see it in full. And, my beloved, there is something you must hold firmly. What you are going through is not meaningless disruption, it is rearrangement. I am setting each piece of your life into place so that it aligns with the purpose I established from the beginning. You may feel as though everything is changing too much, too quickly, but in truth, I am bringing everything into its rightful position, like a builder carefully arranging stones to form a solid foundation. I do not allow a single detail to be misplaced. And when this work is complete, you will look back and understand that nothing was wasted. Nothing was without purpose. Everything served a greater design. I am not only leading you along the path, I am transforming you into one who can walk firmly upon it. For if what is within you is not aligned, then even in the right place, you may still walk in the wrong way. But when you have been set right at the deepest level, no circumstance will be able to turn you aside. The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. Psalm 37:23. This is not merely a promise, but a reality I am establishing within you. So be at peace. Do not let passing emotions cause you to doubt the work I am doing. I do not work halfway, and I do not abandon what I have begun. What I am doing in you is complete, precise, filled with love and wisdom. You are not being left behind, you are being led forward. Even if the movement sometimes feels slow or quiet, trust that I am present in every motion. And as you continue to walk in trust, you will see that you are not only arriving at the right place, but becoming the right person, the one I ordained from the beginning. My beloved child, when I have reset the inner axis within you, I do not stop there, but go deeper into the hidden place that even you often avoid, the place where the true reasons behind your actions are formed. It is not what you do outwardly that first draws my attention, but what lies beneath the quiet motivations guiding each choice. There are times when you do what is right, yet your heart is still driven by the need for recognition, by the fear of being overlooked, or by the desire to prove your worth. It is there that I begin the work of refinement, for if the root is not cleansed, the fruit, no matter how beautiful, will not endure. As it is written, the Lord does not see as man sees, for man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. Therefore I am not persuaded by form, I search the depths of your soul. For this very reason, you will see me allow certain things to leave your life, opportunities that seem timely, yet quietly close. Relationships that once supported you, yet gradually grow distant. Expectations that once drove you, yet now dissolve. Do not misunderstand this as me taking away what is good. I am protecting you from losing yourself while pursuing what only appears good. When there is no one left to impress, you begin to face the true reasons behind your actions. When the applause fades, you will discern for whom you are truly walking. All a person's ways seem pure in their own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit. Proverbs 16:2. And that weighing is love, not harsh judgment. Consider Saul, a king who acted before he was permitted, not because he did not know what was right, but because he feared losing the approval of people. He offered sacrifice to secure their favor, yet lost obedience. And at that point his foundation began to tremble. In contrast, David, a shepherd without status, was chosen not because he was flawless, but because his heart was turned toward me. I have found David, a man after my own heart, who will do all my will. Acts 13:22. Do you see? I do not seek perfection in action, I seek sincerity in motive. When your heart is upright, I can shape everything else. And remember Joseph, a man not defined by his circumstances. When he was sold, he did not allow bitterness to corrupt his heart when he was falsely accused. He did not allow injustice to distort his faithfulness. He served in obscurity not to be seen, but because he knew that I saw. The Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. Genesis 39:23. It was the purity of his motive that made my presence evident in his life. And that presence lifted him not as a reward for ambition, but as the natural outcome of faithfulness. So it will be with you when your heart is no longer divided. I will place you in the right place at the right time, not because you strive for it, but because you are ready to carry what I entrust to you. My beloved, returning to me as your center and the purification of your motives cannot be separated. When your heart is anchored in me, you will no longer be drawn by false lights, fleeting praise, the pressure to prove yourself, the quiet comparisons. And when your motives are refined, you will walk with a new lightness. What once felt like a burden will become an honor, because you are no longer acting to be recognized, but as an act of worship. Whatever you do, do it wholeheartedly, as unto the Lord and not unto men. Colossians 3:23. And when you live in that truth, you will be freed from the weariness of trying to become someone in the eyes of others. Allow me to complete this work in you. Do not return to old ways simply because they are familiar. Do not revive old motivations just because they once made you feel useful. I am teaching you a new way of living where every action flows from union with me, not from external pressure. And as you walk from that place, you will no longer be shaken by praise or criticism, by success or failure. You will stand firm, because your foundation is no longer in the world, but in me. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. I do not want you to glimpse me only in extraordinary moments. I want you to recognize me in every ordinary step. When your motives are pure, Your vision will be clear when your heart is undivided. You will see me more clearly than ever within your decisions, your actions, even in the smallest things you once overlooked. And in that seeing, you will no longer lose your way. For I am not only leading you to what is right, I am making you right. And when that work is complete, no circumstance, no voice, no pressure will be able to pull you away from the path I have appointed. Be at peace, for the work I am doing in you is deep, meticulous, and complete. I am refining you not to weaken you, but to purify you a vessel I can use freely, unhindered by any hidden motive. And in that state, you will not only walk with me, you will reflect me in all that you do. My beloved child, when your heart no longer turns toward the eyes of people, when your actions are no longer driven by the fear of being forgotten, you step into a freedom that the world can neither understand nor control. Within that freedom, you do not need to strive for attention, for the steadiness within you naturally releases influence. I have spoken, the Lord looks at the heart, 1 Samuel 16:7. And when your heart is upright before me, you no longer need to prove anything. Your voice does not need to be loud, yet it carries weight. Your steps do not need to be fast, yet they are strong enough to shift the ground beneath you. When your motives are pure, everything you do becomes both gentle and profound. You love not out of lack, but because you have been filled from within. Look back upon the journey you have walked, not with regret, but with understanding. There were seasons when you strained to establish yourself, comparing, striving to secure a place in the eyes of others. There were also moments when you withdrew, fearing misunderstanding, fearing the loss of acceptance you once believed was necessary to survive. But I have not left you within that cycle. I am forming in you a new person, one who is no longer lifted by praise, nor diminished by criticism. As it is written, "Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him," Jeremiah 17:7. For such a one no longer depends on external sources to stand firm, but is sustained by a well that never runs dry. You will recognize this change not through a sudden outburst, but through a quiet and steady unfolding. The things that once troubled you will gradually lose their weight. The silent comparisons that once governed you will lose their appeal. The words that once unsettled you will pass like the wind. This is not coldness, it is maturity. I am completing an inner work within you, a work unseen by human eyes, yet deeply perceived by your soul. When your motives are refined, you no longer love in order to be loved in return, but because your very nature has been transformed. You no longer act to prove yourself, but because you know you belong to me. And, my beloved, I am not doing this to separate you from the world, but to establish you firmly within it without being carried away by it. I do not call you to withdraw. I call you to remain present, but with a self that has been made free. As I spoke to Joshua, "Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Joshua 1:9. The strength you receive does not come from external encouragement, but from the deep awareness that I am with you in every step. When you live within that awareness, you do not need to compete for position, for your place has already been appointed. You do not need to seek ways to shine, for the light within you is already sufficient. Pure motives will release you from the invisible bonds you once did not recognize, the chains of hidden ambition, the fear of abandonment, the longing for recognition. These once drained your energy and drove you toward things that were never truly yours. But as I cut those cords, you will find yourself lighter, clearer, more focused. You will no longer need to spread yourself thin to please everyone. You need only remain faithful to what I have set before you. And within that freedom, you will walk with a quiet authority. You will not need to occupy space. yet your presence will shift the atmosphere. You will not need many words, yet what you speak will touch precisely where it is needed. You will not need to strive to become extraordinary, for your union with me has already made you distinct. The righteous shall live by faith, Habakkuk 2-4. And that faith is not loud, but enduring, not hurried, but sure. Continue to keep your heart soft before me. Do not return to former motivations simply because they feel familiar. And do not cling to old ways of living merely because they once gave you a sense of safety. I am leading you into a new way of life, one in which you are no longer driven by the need to be seen, but by my presence within you. And when you walk from that place, you will not only live rightly, you will become a living testimony that when a soul is set free, even the world must make way. Be at peace, for the work I am doing in you is not temporary. It is the foundation for everything that lies ahead. When you are freed from those unseen bonds, no pressure will be able to pull you off course again. You will walk in a deep peace, a peace not born of circumstances, but of complete union with me. And within that union, you will not only be sustained, you will be used, guided, and made into a stream of life for those around you. My beloved child, do not think that you are drifting through an undefined void, as though you must find your own path in uncertainty. You are not random. I have placed you exactly where you are, like a star set in its appointed orbit. When you feel a restraining force, do not interpret it as obstruction. It is I who am holding you within my hand, keeping you from straying off the precise path. For if you move before the appointed time, you may move quickly, but not correctly. The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. Psalm 37:23. So, what I am doing is not hindering you, but grounding every step upon an unshakable foundation. There were seasons when you exerted all your strength just to remain aligned, striving to maintain connection, striving not to lose direction, striving to control every detail. But I have not called you to live in that tension. True union is not sustained by strain, but by surrender to my leading. You do not need to force yourself into the right place. You only need to remain in me. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. As you learn to rest in me, you will realize that I am the one who keeps you on the right path, not your own effort. What you are experiencing in this season is not something that can be learned through knowledge or achieved by method. It is the result of a spiritual alignment when your heart is no longer scattered, when your motives are no longer divided. As your inner being becomes unified, your outward life will begin to operate with precision. You will find that your words carry authority without volume, and your actions bring influence without display. As it is written, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4:6. What is working through you does not come from effort, but from union. You will notice something remarkable. The battles that once exhausted you no longer affect you in the same way, not because circumstances have disappeared, but because your way of engaging has changed. You no longer react in every direction, no longer spend energy on what I have not assigned. You learn to wait, to listen, and to act only when I speak. To everything there is a season, Ecclesiastes 3:1. And when you move within the right timing, you will not struggle in chaos, but walk in precision. Therefore, my beloved, do not be afraid when you feel held back. Do not mistake waiting for stagnation. What I am doing is not slowing you down, but aiming you toward a target you cannot yet see, like an arrow that must be drawn back before it is released. You are in that moment of preparation. Without the tension, the arrow cannot travel far. Without alignment, it cannot fly straight. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Proverbs 16:9. So, your part is not to launch yourself, but to trust the one who holds the bow. And when the time comes, I will not delay. I will release you in the right direction, at the right moment, with a force you could never produce on your own. Then you will go farther than you imagined, with greater precision than you conceived, not because you have strived enough, but because you have been prepared rightly. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall soar on wings like eagles. Isaiah 40:31. And that soaring does not come from haste, but from waiting in the right place. You are not lost, and you have not been left behind. You are in the hands of the one who formed every path, the one who knows the beginning and the end. And within my hands, no step is meaningless. No delay is wasted. Everything is serving a release that will come at the appointed time. Remain at rest in my leading. Do not rush to escape the place where I am holding you simply because you cannot yet see the full picture. For when I complete this preparation, you will not only walk rightly, you will become an arrow sent forth, flying straight into the destiny that was written for you from the beginning. And along that journey, you will understand that every force that once seemed to restrain you was not limitation, but love preparing you for a breakthrough that cannot miss its mark. My beloved child, the way I bring you back into alignment has never been through loud sounds that startle you, but through deep, gentle touches that only an awakened soul can discern. I do not begin by changing what your eyes can see, but by adjusting the rhythm of thought that quietly guides you each day. When you realize you are no longer drawn to what once captivated you, when what once seemed dazzling begins to fade, when you start to long for what is truer and deeper, this is not the loss of joy, but the sign that I am resetting the direction of your heart. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. Ezekiel 36:26. And that renewal is the beginning of every right movement in your life. Understand this clearly and hold it as an unshakable truth. I do not lead you by fear. I do not force you into what is right through pressure or threat. I lead you by inclining your heart toward me. When your heart truly turns toward me, wrong paths do not need to be forbidden. They simply lose their appeal. You will no longer find them attractive, nor be pulled by them, because within you there will be a stronger pull. As it is written, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Psalm 37:4. For when your delight is in me, I myself shape your desires. In that place, you do not have to struggle to avoid what is wrong. You naturally walk into what is right. Look at how I work within creation, so you may understand more deeply. A flower does not need to be commanded to turn toward the light. Its nature causes it to seek its source of life. In the same way, your soul, once touched by my light, will begin to align without coercion. This is the first mechanism of alignment. I draw the heart first, and then your steps will follow. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and he will make straight your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. And that guidance does not always come from the outside, but from the quiet transformation within. My beloved, remember the story of Ruth. No command forced her to leave her homeland. No pressure compelled her to choose the difficult path. Yet, something deeper drew her love and trust. When she said, "Your people shall be my people, and your God my God," Ruth 1:16. She was not merely choosing a person, she was choosing a direction of heart. And that inclination led her into the flow of a greater plan she could not foresee. She did not strive for position, nor attempt to force her way into destiny. She simply followed where her heart had turned. And I arranged the intersections fields, people, opportunities with precision, without display. So it is with you when your heart is aligned. I will lead you into places you could never find on your own, and connect you with what you could never create for yourself. You may call it coincidence, but I call it arrangement. A person's steps are directed by the Lord, Proverbs 20:24. So what you need is not control over every detail, but a heart that remains rightly oriented. When your heart is right, the path will open. When your motives are pure, the doors will appear. You may feel a sense of unfamiliarity in this season, as what once attracted you no longer holds its pull, and what once kept you busy now feels empty. Do not be afraid of that shift. It is not that you are losing yourself, but that you are returning to the person I originally intended you to be. I am removing the layers that no longer fit, so that what is true within you may be revealed. In this process, I am placing within you a new sensitivity. You begin to discern what is false that you once could not see, and you feel a deep peace when you encounter what is true. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. John 8:32. And that freedom does not come from outside, but from inner recognition. Therefore, my beloved, do not resist this subtle movement simply because it is not loud. Do not seek grand signs while overlooking small shifts. It is within those small things that I am doing my greatest work. Keep your heart open, soft, and willing. Do not force yourself back into what you have already outgrown. Do not doubt when you no longer resonate with what once stood at your center. This is the sign that you are being drawn into your rightful place. I do not pull you with force so that you resist. I draw you with love so that you willingly follow. And when you follow in this way, you will not only walk rightly, you will walk with peace, with certainty, with a joy that does not depend on circumstance. You will come to realize that you no longer need to strive to be in the right place, because I myself am holding you there. Trust this. When your heart is turned toward me, you cannot wander far. And as you remain in my light, each step you take will naturally become precise. Not because you are perfect, but because I am completing my work within you, a quiet yet powerful work that leads you into all that was written for you from the beginning. My beloved child, when you see what was once familiar slipping from your hands, do not panic as though you are losing something precious. There were dreams that once burned within you but now begin to fade. There were things that once held you but no longer have the strength to keep you. This is not loss, it is the sign that I am lightening your burden. I do not take away to leave you empty. I remove so that you will not be pulled backward by what no longer belongs to your new direction. Commit your way to the Lord, and He will bring it to pass. Psalm 37:5. And as you entrust your way to me, I will sift what no longer fits without requiring you to analyze every detail on your own. You do not need to understand the entire map of your journey in order to walk rightly. I do not require you to grasp every reason, every outcome, every turn. What I seek in you is a soft heart, a heart that turns toward me in the midst of every change. When your heart holds the right direction, the remaining paths will be naturally refined. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and He will direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. So what matters is not that you know everything, but that you are rightly aligned within. When what is within you is upright, what is outside, you will be guided. Then you will begin to notice something gentle yet powerful. You are moving forward without forcing yourself. There is no longer a strain to keep everything right, no longer a pressure to control each step. You begin to move in a new rhythm, the rhythm of union. I am working in places your eyes cannot see, opening paths you have not yet touched. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Exodus 14:14. And in that stillness, you are not driven by pressure, but drawn by love. You are no longer one who gropes to find the center. You are one being brought back to the center by the very one who created you. Therefore, allow me to continue the work I have begun within you. Do not rush to interfere with the process simply because you are not yet familiar with the feeling of change. Let me touch your heart before I move your steps. For when your heart truly belongs to me, the path you walk cannot drift from the purpose that was set from the beginning. The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him, Psalm 37-23. And that firmness does not come from your striving, but from my leading. But my beloved, my work does not remain only within you. As I lift you into a new level, I also begin to adjust the environment around you. A soul that has been expanded cannot remain within an old space without sensing its confinement. You will notice that certain connections begin to grow distant. Certain conversations no longer resonate. Certain places, once familiar, now feel out of place. Do not be quick to grieve or to hold on to what is naturally drifting away. I am not asking you to cut things off by force. I am lifting you. And what no longer aligns will realign on its own. As it is written, can two walk together unless they are agreed? Amos 3:3. When your rhythm changes, you can no longer walk in step with what no longer harmonizes. This is not because you are better, nor because others are wrong. It is simply a difference in frequency, a natural shift as I renew you, like a wave tuned to a higher range. The old sounds are no longer received, not because they have disappeared, but because you now dwell in a different realm. And in all of this, I am arranging the atmosphere around you to match where I am leading you. New people will appear. New opportunities will open. New spaces will receive you, not because you strive to find them, but because you have been positioned rightly. God has placed the members in the body, each one of them, just as he desired, 1 Corinthians 12:18. And that placement is never mistaken. My beloved child, do not resist the changing of your environment simply because you remember what once felt familiar. Do not try to pull back what I am allowing to leave. Trust that when I reshape the atmosphere around you, it is so you may breathe more freely, walk more fully, and live more completely in what I have appointed. I do not remove to make you lonely. I rearrange so that you may be rightly placed. Remain at rest within this leading. Allow me to complete the alignment from within to without, from heart to environment. And when everything is set in its proper place, you will find that you are no longer searching for the path. You will become one who is already walking in a path that has been prepared, where every step you take moves in harmony with my intention. My beloved child, as I draw you nearer to what I have appointed, I do not merely reposition your steps along the path ahead, but I also sharpen your spirit, the place that discerns beyond reasoning. I am placing within you a capacity for discernment that you have not previously lived in. You will begin to sense what is right or not before your mind can explain it. There will be places you enter where your heart suddenly feels heavy, as though an unseen door has closed. Do not ignore that sensation, for it is I gently saying, no. There will be opportunities that sound reasonable, even right by logic, yet stir unrest within you. This is not weakness, but a signal I have placed within you to protect you from choices that are not yours. Conversely, there will be things not yet fully clear, not yet meeting ideal conditions in your understanding. Yet when you consider them, your heart grows lighter, brighter, and peace begins to flow. That is when I am whispering, go forward. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. Colossians 3:15. And you must understand that this peace is not merely a passing, pleasant feeling. It is my mark, a deep confirmation that cannot be imitated. I do not speak only through great words or visible signs. I speak through the rhythm of your soul, through the quiet resonance that only you and I share. Do not dismiss these inner responses. They are not uncertainty or vague emotion. They are the language of heaven placed within you, a language without words, yet full of authority. The closer you come to your purpose, the clearer this sensitivity will become. You will no longer require an abundance of external evidence to decide. You will recognize direction from within. Because I am within you, leading you from the center. Remember the account when Samuel was sent to anoint the one I had chosen? He saw Eliab, a man of strong appearance, fitting the image of a king, and assumed he must be the appointed one. But I said to him, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for the Lord does not see as man sees." 1 Samuel 16:7. In that moment, I was teaching him that my choice is not based on what the eyes perceive, but on what the heart discerns when guided by me. And in the end, David, the one who did not stand out by outward standards, was the one I had chosen. So it is with you, my beloved. I am bringing you into a new level of discernment where you are no longer misled by appearances, by what seems right yet carries no life. You will sense before you understand, and this does not make you weaker, but more precise. You will no longer need excessive analysis to avoid error. You will recognize early, so that you do not step wrongly from the beginning. This sensitivity does not come from striving to learn more, but from drawing nearer to me. When you remain near the light, you naturally see more clearly. When you abide in union, you naturally discern what is right and what is not without strain. My sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. And that voice is not always a clear-spoken word. It may come as peace, as a warning, as a gentle prompting. Therefore, do not return to your former way of living, the way of relying only on reasoning or surface emotions to decide. I am inviting you to live by a deeper leading, a leading that arises from a spirit that has been awakened. When you trust that guidance, you will walk with a new certainty, not because you know everything, but because you know who is leading you. My beloved, this is not confusion, it is elevation. I am making you more sensitive, more refined, and more precise in every step. And as you continue to trust, you will realize that you are no longer walking in assumption, but in knowing, a knowing that flows from my presence within you. My beloved child, as I draw you closer to the place I have appointed, I do not only realign your heart, reorder your environment, or sharpen your discernment, I also place within you a movement you have not known before, a deep inner stirring I call holy unrest. Do not confuse this with the anxiety of the flesh. Anxiety causes you to shrink, robs you of peace, and urges you to withdraw. But what I place within you does not carry panic. It carries a gentle yet steady urging that will not allow you to remain in what is old. It is like the awareness that something significant is approaching. No one forces you. Yet within you, something begins to move, to prepare, to rearrange, to renew, even before your eyes can see it. Recognize that this feeling is not a sign that you are losing control, but evidence that I am at work within you. When I begin to reposition a soul, I awaken this movement before I change the outward circumstances. You will find yourself no longer comfortable with familiar patterns, no longer drawn to return to habits that once sufficed, not because those things are evil, but because they no longer align with the person I am forming in you. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth, do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. This new thing does not always arrive with loud signs. Often it begins as a subtle stirring within the soul, a shift that only you and I can truly discern. You may wonder why what once satisfied you now feels restrictive. Why limits you once accepted now feel confining. Understand that this is not dissatisfaction born of the flesh, wanting more, but the sign of expansion that I am bringing. When a soul is lifted to a higher level, it cannot continue to live within old structures, without sensing their constraint. As it is written, "Enlarge the place of your tent, do not hold back," Isaiah 54:2. I am expanding your inner capacity, and that expansion is what makes what once fit now no longer sufficient. My beloved, do not try to suppress this holy unrest simply because you wish to preserve what is familiar. Do not rush to return to what is old just to regain a sense of security. What you are feeling is not instability, it is the sign that I am preparing you for something greater. If you force yourself to remain where I have already led you out of, you will only grow heavier within. But if you accept this movement, you will begin to see that it is leading you not by pressure, but by a gentle and steady pull. So it is that you are being drawn into a season where you can no longer remain at rest within old structures. Habits that once sufficed, ways of thinking that once seemed reasonable, limits you once accepted, all are being made too small for what I am opening within you. And in this process, you will learn to trust me not only when everything is clear, but even when all you perceive is a subtle inner movement. The Lord will guide you continually, Isaiah 58:11. And that guidance does not always come through loud words, but through quiet shifts within you. When you feel no longer aligned with the old, when you sense yourself being stirred to prepare for what has not yet appeared, it is I who am going before you, making the way. Therefore, my beloved, receive this holy unrest as a gift, not as a burden. It is the sign that you are not being left behind, but are being set into motion. It reveals that you are not standing still, but are being drawn into something new. Do not fear the feeling of no longer belonging to what once was. It is the evidence that you are moving closer to where I have appointed you. Keep your heart open and soft. Allow me to complete this preparation. For when the time comes, you will not enter what is new as a stranger, but as one who has already been formed within for it. And in that moment, you will understand that the subtle stirring you feel today is the beginning of a season I ordained for you long ago. My beloved child, the time will come when you no longer recognize the path merely through the reasoning of the mind, but through a living response deep within your spirit. I have placed within you a capacity to recognize without needing explanation. There will be people you encounter where, in a single glance or brief exchange, something within you ignites as though something has been known before. This is not passing emotion, but recognition in the spirit. There will be opportunities that do not cause you to tighten or withdraw, but instead open your heart as though you are stepping into something that has long been waiting for you. And there will be words, though simple, that cause your heart to burn. Just as the disciples once said, "Did not our hearts burn within us?" Luke 24:32. When you sense that burning, it is not surface excitement, but a confirmation that I am present in that moment. Do not doubt these quiet inner responses. I do not speak only through what is obvious. I speak through the life I have placed within you. The closer you come to what I have appointed, the more you will recognize that the most important intersections do not require your striving to create. You do not need to scheme to meet the right people or seize the right opportunities. I am the one who orchestrates what you cannot see. I arrange the timing. I open the circumstances. I use your smallest steps to bring you into places of greater meaning. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. Deuteronomy 31:8. So when I go before you, you do not need to run ahead. When the holy unrest I place within you meets the intersections I arrange, you will begin to understand that you are not being pushed into something foreign. You are being drawn into what has already been prepared for you. What unfolds is not coincidence, though it may appear so outwardly. A chance encounter, a door opening at the right moment, a word that meets a hidden need within you. These are the pieces I set in place. All things work together for good for those who love God. Romans 28. And that working together is not accident, but orchestration. My beloved, let your heart trust rather than control. Do not chase every opportunity as though everything depends on your effort. Do not allow anxiety to convince you that if you do not manage everything yourself, you will miss what matters. What I have appointed for you cannot be lost simply because you do not strain to hold it. I do not require your attention to accomplish my plan. I require your readiness, an open heart, and an obedient step. Therefore, do not fear the gentle stirring within you. Do not dismiss what you cannot fully explain. When you feel yourself drawn toward a point of light, when a path opens at the very moment you are ready to step into it, when a person appears and awakens something deep within you, recognize that I am at work. I am not bringing confusion. I am leading you into the intersection between time and purpose. And at those intersections, you will come to recognize a truth you once only understood in words. Nothing is random. Every detail, every moment, every encounter bears my hand upon it. I am placing you exactly where you belong, neither early nor late, neither misplaced nor mistaken. Walk with this awareness. My beloved, not in haste, but in certainty, not in anxiety, but in peace. You are not one striving to find a path. You are one being led into a path already prepared. And as you walk within that leading, you will see that all things are converging, not to confuse you, but to fulfill what I have written for your life from the beginning. My beloved child, as I draw you into deeper alignment, you will not always encounter what is entirely unfamiliar, as though I were leading you into a different world. Often, I will revive what you have once touched, once felt stirred by, once believed long ago. Yet this time, they will no longer feel vague or fragile. They will return with new life, with deeper substance, with a certainty you cannot deny. You will recognize that what once awakened your soul was not a passing illusion, but the imprint of a design I placed within you from the beginning. When I awaken it again, you will not feel estranged. You will feel as though you have come home. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. And what was once sown in you now begins to bloom because its appointed time has come. This revival is not a return to the past, but an entrance into a higher expression of the same promise. What you once understood in part now becomes more complete. What you once saw from afar now becomes near and clear. You no longer doubt as before, for within you there is a knowing that cannot be shaken. I am not repeating what was old, I am completing what I began within you. And when that design is reawakened, your soul no longer needs to strive to believe. You simply know. Alongside this, I begin another work within you. I quiet the unnecessary voices and bring my voice to the forefront. You will notice that what once stirred you, silent comparisons, endless debates, fluctuating emotions, no longer holds its pull. This is not indifference, but elevation. Be still before the Lord, Psalm 37:7. This is not a command of restraint, but an invitation into a space where you can hear more clearly. You will begin to long for stillness, not because you wish to withdraw, but because within stillness you recognize my presence more distinctly. You will no longer feel the need to enter every conversation or prove yourself in every setting. You will speak less, yet what you say will carry greater depth. You will listen more, and what you hear will not be limited to outward sound, but will include my voice within. Hear, O Israel, Deuteronomy 6:4. This call remains alive, not merely as hearing with the ears, but as listening with the soul. This is not separation from the world, but the preservation of your union with me. When the noise diminishes, you do not lose anything, you regain clarity. When you are no longer drawn into every movement around you, You begin to walk with greater precision. A called soul cannot live in constant distraction. It must learn to focus on the one voice that leads it. And I am teaching you this not by force, but by allowing everything else to gradually lose its appeal. My beloved child, do not be afraid when you no longer find yourself fitting within the noise that once surrounded you. Do not think that you are losing something when you step away from the clamor. I am not taking away your joy. I am giving you a deeper joy, the joy of my presence, of understanding, of union. When you dwell in that state, you no longer need to seek validation from outside, for within you there is already a fullness of assurance. Continue to walk in the stillness I am opening before you. Treasure the moments when you hear more clearly, understand more deeply, and see with greater light. These are the signs that I am refining your sensitivity to my voice. And as you become accustomed to that gentle whisper, you will no longer require great signs to know where I am. You will recognize me in every breath, every thought, every step. For I am not only speaking to you, I am teaching you how to listen. And when you learn to hear my voice above every other sound, you will walk in a certainty that nothing can lead you astray. My beloved, when all that I have been quietly working within you begins to converge, you will recognize a sign that needs no confirmation. You will feel yourself being drawn into the center of a current greater than yourself. It is not ambition, nor a desire to ascend, nor a construct of imagination. It is a deep awareness that your life is being placed into a direction already prepared. You will no longer struggle to find the way, nor strain to maintain balance. You will simply walk, and the current will carry you. The river of God is full of water, Psalm 65:9. And when you are within that flow, you no longer search for the source, you are living within it. You will see that the questions which once unsettled you begin to quiet, not because you now possess every answer, but because you no longer need to understand everything in order to trust. A deep, quiet assurance will settle over you, not loud, yet unwavering. You will realize that you are no longer trying to escape what is happening, nor resisting the process I am unfolding. You are being drawn, guided, and aligned without the strain of effort. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, Jeremiah 1:5. And what is taking place is not a temporary reaction to circumstance, but the fulfillment of what I established from the beginning. When you step into that center, you no longer need to hold yourself steady. The center holds you. And from that place, I do not merely position you correctly, I entrust you with a sacred role. I call you to become a keeper of alignment. This is not a title to carry outwardly as an honor, but a responsibility I place upon your soul. You are given authority to guard what I have established within you, to keep your heart from drifting, to keep my voice from being overshadowed, to keep your peace from being disturbed. Guard your heart above all else, for from it flow the springs of life. Proverbs 4:23. And this guarding is the portion entrusted to you. You are no longer one swept along by the crowd or driven by passing emotion. The winds of the outside no longer determine your direction. You are no longer a leaf carried by circumstance. You become one who stands firm amid all movement. Yet understand this rightly. You do not govern your own course. You are led from within by my voice, a guidance that is quiet yet unerring. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. For when I lead, you have no need to direct yourself. When I place you in this position, I also clothe you with a new quality, an authority that does not come from your effort to display it, but from your alignment with where I have set you. This authority does not make you stand out for attention, but makes you steady for use. It does not elevate you above others. It makes you fitting for what I have entrusted to you. You do not need to prove that you carry authority. You only need to live within the union that has been established in you. And from that place, everything you do will carry weight without the need for display. My beloved child, do not fear this responsibility. I do not place you in a position without also giving you the capacity to stand within it. I myself sustain you, lift you, and lead you. Your part is simply to remain within the flow, to keep your heart soft, and to listen to my voice. As you do this, you will not only stand firm, you will become a place of stability, a point where alignment is preserved and extended to others. Remember that nothing unfolding in your life is accidental. You are not stepping into the unknown. You are entering what was written for you from the beginning. And as you continue to walk in this leading, you will realize that you are no longer searching for a position. You are living within the position already appointed. So be at peace. Do not look at what surrounds you to determine where you stand. Look instead to the peace within, to the quiet certainty I have placed inside you. That is the sign that you are at the center. And at that center, you are not only sustained, you are established, entrusted with authority, and sent forth to live fully in the purpose I have prepared for you. My beloved, if you desire that the alignment I have begun within you would not merely flare up for a moment but become a steady current, then you must learn to steward the place from which every direction is formed your mind. It is not because you lack calling that you lose direction, nor because you lack ability. It is because when your thoughts are not guided, they drift toward what is easiest, lowest, and darkest. Thought is like water flowing down a mountainside. It will follow its natural course unless it is directed. But when you learn to channel it, the same source can nourish life. We take every thought captive to make it obedient to Christ. 2 Corinthians 10:5. This is not a burden, but an invitation into discipline that produces freedom. Therefore, whenever you recognize your mind beginning to slip into fear, do not allow it to continue unchecked. Pause it and ask yourself, does this voice reflect my voice? I do not lead you through trembling or unrest. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. If a thought causes you to shrink, to doubt your identity, or to lose your peace, then recognize it is not from me. I do not speak through threat. I lead through truth and love. And when you face yourself, do not allow harsh judgments to occupy the space within you. I correct you, but I do not crush you. I shape you, but I do not diminish you. If a thought causes you to feel worthless, rejected, or unworthy, then ask, does this align with what I have spoken over you? There is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1. When you are in me, you are not driven away by condemnation, but drawn closer by grace. My beloved, the stewardship of your thoughts is not a battle you win once and for all. It is a daily discipline, a continual alertness. Just as a watchman at the city gate cannot fall asleep, so you cannot abandon the doorway of your mind. Guard your heart above all else, for it is the wellspring of life. Proverbs 4:23. For from it flow all the currents of your life. If you leave that gate unguarded, what does not belong to you will find its way in. But if you stand firm, if you keep watch, peace will be preserved. I do not call you to live in tension, trying to control every thought by your own strength. I invite you into partnership with me where you learn to recognize, discern, and choose. When a thought comes, you do not need to fear it. You only need to examine it. If it carries life, keep it. If it carries darkness, reject it. And as you do this again and again, you will find your mind gradually renewed, not by force, but by truth taking root within you. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. That renewal does not happen in a single night, but through many small decisions, Each time you choose truth over falsehood, peace over fear, trust over doubt, every one of those choices, though they may seem small, is reshaping the inner current within you. My beloved child, when you learn to steward your thoughts, you do more than maintain alignment, you protect it. You do not only stand in the center, you remain there. And when your mind is rightly positioned, you will no longer be pulled off course by external voices or fleeting emotions. You will walk with clarity, with stability, and with a freedom that nothing can take from you. Remember, I am not only leading you, I am teaching you how to walk with me. And when you learn to guard your own mind, you will no longer be one carried along by every current. You will become one who lives within the current. I have ordained, unshaken, unconfused, and steady in every step. My beloved, what I am teaching you is not the denial of emotion, but the placing of emotion in its rightful position. Emotions are signals, not the driver. They may reveal what is happening within you, but if you hand them the wheel, you will be carried by every rise and fall without a firm anchor. There will be days when you feel full of strength, and days when you feel depleted, days of clarity, and days of uncertainty. But obedience is not built upon these fluctuations. The righteous shall live by faith, Romans 1:17. And faith does not drift with feeling, it stands upon the word I have spoken. Therefore, the one who maintains alignment is not the one who always feels ready, but the one who continues to walk even without the support of emotion. They pray not only when their heart overflows, but even when all within feels quiet. They keep their word not to be seen, but because they have chosen to stand in truth. They continue in the direction I have set, even when the body is weary and the mind longs to stop. Remember Daniel. He did not adjust his rhythm according to circumstance or feeling, even when he knew the consequence could be the lion's den. He knelt and prayed as he always had, Daniel 6:10. His consistency was not stubbornness, it was the foundation that kept him rightly positioned. My beloved, true maturity is not measured by moments of emotional intensity, but by quiet choices that no one sees. It is in the small, repeated decisions that you are shaping the trajectory of your life. Each time you choose what is right, even when you do not feel like doing it, you are setting an anchor that keeps you from drifting. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much, Luke 16:10. And it is this quiet faithfulness that forms who you are becoming. I do not require you to be strong in the way you imagine. I do not demand that you always feel right. I simply invite you to choose what is right, even when your emotions do not agree. When you do this, you are declaring to your soul that I am the one who leads you, not the fluctuations within you. And over time, you will see something remarkable. Your emotions will begin to follow your obedience, rather than lead it. Hold this truth within you. Stability does not come from controlling your emotions, but from refusing to let them determine your direction. As you walk with me, whether in bright days or dark, you are strengthening the path beneath your feet. And as you continue, you will no longer be pulled off course by temporary shifts. My beloved child, I am not only teaching you how to feel, I am teaching you how to live. A life not led by mood, but by truth. A life not carried by emotion, but grounded in union with me. And as you step into that way of living, you will find that you are no longer unstable as before, but steady, consistent, and free. Continue to walk, even when you do not feel strong. Continue to hold to what is right, even when no one sees. For every such step is drawing you deeper into the path I have ordained. And there, you will not merely exist, you will stand firm, unshaken, led by me in all things. My beloved, I do not teach you to deny your emotions, but to place them in their rightful position. Emotions are signals, not the steering hand. They reveal what is happening within, but they are not meant to determine your direction. If you allow them to lead, you will shift with every wave, forward and backward, hot and cold without an anchor. But I call you to a different order, the order of faith. The righteous shall live by faith, Romans 1:17. Faith does not rest upon feeling, it stands upon what I have spoken. And my word does not change with your good days or your difficult ones. Therefore, understand this. Obedience is not measured by whether you feel like doing what is right, but by your willingness to do what is right when no inspiration supports you. There will be days when you feel strong, and following me seems effortless. But there will also be days when you feel weary, empty, and everything you do seems without vitality. It is in those days that your faithfulness becomes more precious than any emotion. When you still pray, though your heart does not overflow. Still keep your word, though no one is watching. Still walk, though all within feels silent. You are building a foundation that cannot be shaken. My beloved, true growth does not lie in the moments when you feel closest to me, but in the quiet stretches when you remain faithful without support. Those small actions, those seemingly insignificant choices, are the anchors that keep you from drifting. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much, Luke 16:10. Each time you choose what is right despite how you feel, you are carving a new pathway within your soul. I do not require you to feel strong emotions at all times, nor do I demand that you always feel right. I simply invite you to choose what is right again and again, day after day. And as you do this, you are teaching your soul a truth. I am the one who leads, not your emotions. Gradually, you will begin to notice a quiet shift. Your emotions will no longer govern you, but will start to follow your obedience. Hold this firmly within you. Stability does not come from controlling your emotions, but from refusing to let them decide your direction. When you stand upon my word, you will no longer waver as before. You will become steady not because you no longer feel, but because you are no longer ruled by what you feel. My beloved child, every step you take in obedience, no matter how small, no matter how hidden, is strengthening the trajectory of your life. You do not need great leaps to walk rightly. You need consistent steps. And as you continue in this way, you will realize that you are no longer carried by temporary shifts, but are moving along a clear path, upheld by me. Continue to walk, even when your heart feels unmotivated. Continue to hold to what is right, even when no one sees. For in each of those choices, you are declaring to your soul that I am the one you trust. And as you live in this way, you will not only walk rightly, you will stand firm, unshaken, led by me in every circumstance. My beloved, now I place my seal upon your journey as a mark that cannot be erased. What you are entering is not a phase you have constructed, but a season led by me. You are not advancing by your own strength, nor maintaining alignment through strain. I am teaching you a different way of living, a soft yet steadfast surrender. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him, and He will act. Psalm 37:5. When you truly release control, you will see that you no longer need to carry the burden of completing everything yourself. You are no longer operating according to the fluctuations of emotion. You are learning to walk in entrusted authority, an authority that does not come from striving to be strong, but from remaining in your position within me. When you stand in that union, you do not need to prove anything. Your life itself becomes the evidence. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, bears much fruit. John 15:5. For your connection with me is the source of your stability. Understand this. My beloved, I am not distant. observing you from afar. I am within you, strengthening what is weak. I go before you, preparing the way where you cannot yet see. I stand beside you, keeping you steady when the winds rise. There is not a single step you take alone. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31:8. My presence is not an idea. It is the foundation that upholds every step you take. Be at peace concerning the parts of your past that once seemed scattered, misdirected, or wasted. I am gathering them, all your stumbles, your seasons of waiting, your lessons learned in silence, and weaving them into a complete design. Nothing is wasted. No experience is unnecessary. All things work together for good for those who love God. Romans 8:28. And that working together is happening within you, piece by piece. You do not need to understand how I do this. You only need to trust that I am doing it. As you continue to walk in surrender, your life will become clearer, not because every question has been answered, but because your direction has been set. You are no longer pulled by the past, nor scattered by unnecessary possibilities. You are being placed into a single current, the current of purpose. My beloved child, keep your heart soft. Do not return to former tension. Do not attempt to reclaim the control you have already surrendered. I do not only lead you, I hold you. I do not only open the way, I walk with you. And as you continue in this union, you will realize that you no longer need to strive to walk rightly, for I myself am keeping you in the right path. Rest in this truth. Nothing in your life is meaningless when it is placed in my hands. Everything, whether bright or dark, easy or difficult, is being woven into a complete purpose. And when that work is finished, you will look back and see that from beginning to end, I was always there, guiding, refining, sustaining, and completing what I had written for you from the beginning.